Happy Tuesday, Scott. How are you doing this evening?
I am great, my friend. How are you?
Oh, doing well. I'm just really excited to get our guest on the show this evening. It's going to be a great treat. I know that for all of you that are joining this afternoon or this evening, I'm really excited to welcome a personal and professional friend of mine, Lydia Smyers. She is leading our U.S. education business for Microsoft U.S., and she has been a personal mentor, professional friend for a great amount of time, and it has impacted my life in more than one way. So I'm excited to bring her on and hear her perspective this evening.
Yeah, 100%. Looking forward to chatting with her as well and picking her brain on where we are with education. Absolutely.
Well, how have you been, Scott?
Everything's good. Everything's good. We're plugging along, and the year's moving along. I'm starting to get teachers feeling that kind of spring fever, looking towards spring break and getting a little break from it all. But we're great. Yourself? How are things in Texas?
Oh, great. Also ready for spring to come around. I got a little
Yep.
glimpse of it recently, and then I think we're going back into winter this week. So, but looking forward to some springtime fun as well.
Agree.
Well, let's bring on our guest.
Sounds great.
So I want to welcome everybody. Welcome to the show, Lydia Smyers. As I stated before, Lydia Smyers is our Vice President of Microsoft US. She oversees all of our U.S. education business from K to career. Lydia, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, Robin. Hey, Scott. Listen, it's awesome to be here. I've caught a lot of these podcast episodes, and so I'm sort of honored to be a part of your official crew. So psyched to have the conversation.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
So, Lydia, can you share with everybody out there this evening a little bit about, what you do at Microsoft? What are you responsible for? What's a day in the life of Lydia look like?
Okay, sure. Well, I don't know that everyone wants to see like the day in the life because every day is so crazy different and wild and weird and everything. But honestly, I lead the U.S. education team here at Microsoft, which means every day we wake up and we think about solving and serving for our customers, for students, for educators, for institutions, to really help assure folks can live our mission, harness the technology, and just do awesome, incredible, amazing things. And so that means I spend a lot of time both externally listening to and talking to our customers, talking to industry leaders, but also internally, I spend a lot of time really leading the teams to assure that they're enabled to help our customer success. And I work with our product teams to assure that they're building what's really right and needed for our customers now.
So being that you obviously meet with a lot of industry leaders in the K-12 and the higher education space and are talking to these folks on a regular, from hearing what they're saying, what are your biggest concerns right now that you're trying to prioritize and focus on in U.S. education?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Robin, as you know, listen, the past few years have been difficult for just everybody, but that's especially true with educators and students and school districts across the country. And so I really think about kind of four, sort of major themes going on that we're very aware of and working to address. So first of all, educator burnout, digital skills divide, research and security. So those four things. So on burnout, man, just an incredible shout out to all you MIEs out there. The research says that, 60 to 70% of educators are considering leaving the profession. We hear you, we see you, and we know that this is a really hard time, and we're so grateful for you. And so it's our duty, it's our calling to honestly help serve you and enable you. And that's how we think about how technology can and should be playing a role in your life. Skills. Skills is a huge concern within the past 2 decades and the next 2 decades, actually coming up. 90% of jobs are going to require some degree of digital fluency. And yet a third of US workers today, they just don't have very basic digital skills, something that we at Microsoft sometimes just take for granted. And so really helping to meet that need is super important. My third theme was research. And we think a lot about research because we think about research as powering and empowering the innovators of tomorrow. Right now in society, we know how important innovation is for our country and for the globe to solve these huge challenges like, world peace and climate change. And we know and have heard that over 90% of researchers have seen that the pandemic has just accelerated the need for cloud computing and smart cloud computing. And so that's a big focus of ours as well. And the final one, of course, is security. I mean, you can't sort of open up your newsfeed without seeing it, thinking it, and when we were at TCA together just the other a few weeks ago, security was a big theme at TCEA, and we heard from so many of you, and we know that over 40% of all education institutions have experienced some kind of cyber attack in the past year. I mean, this is astronomical and off the charts. We think about this, we're ready to help address all of these concerns. We want to unlock hybrid for folks. We want to make sure there's great tools to provide research and discovery. We want to make sure skills and students are ready for the careers of tomorrow. And ultimately, we want to assure that teachers can meet the needs of today and tomorrow. So we're consider us your partner in this journey because we know that it's an incredible role that you all fill.
And lots of challenges. Not any single one of those, right, Lydia, would be an amazing, task to take on. But we're looking at having to take on so many of these at this time. And in addition to those challenges, though, what have you all seen, not just at Microsoft, but specific to education? What have you seen in terms of opportunities? Because certainly ripping the Band-Aid off exposed a lot of issues that we needed to address. But we also learned a ton, both in technology, in teaching, in research, and some of the things that you're talking about as well.
Well, we have learned a ton. I mean, we've learned so much over the past 2 years, Scott. It's really incredible. We have really worked to help shape a vision and a plan for institutions, for individuals our job is to help kind of craft in partnership with our customers what innovation in education can look like, right? And what's tangible and what's real and what's achievable. And a bit more of the how too, right? Specifically, where can digital step in, unlock new levels of capability, and take things that are from good to great, really unlock student success. And so thinking about digital as a catalyst, not just a tool, is something that we really kind of keep top of mind. We also have learned that, a secure but collaborative infrastructure, is so essential. We need to assure that learning is anytime, anywhere. And that's essential for student success. And so we're super focused on assuring, this new world of sort of distributed learning is always collaborative and always secure. And finally, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about how to take cross sort of functional solutions, thinking about different modes of learning, different capabilities of learning, and ultimately build a really stable infrastructure for learning. So we think of potentially, some of our technologies is just a canvas and an ability to sort of socket in various solutions, various capabilities that can help meet a student where they are to provide the most robust environment for their learning.
So this one might be a little bit more difficult to answer because you probably have a ton of things to throw this way, but what solutions, we have lots of solutions here at Microsoft specifically, but what solution are you most excited about really making some significant impact in education?
Oh gosh. The list can go on. I mean, I just get so psyched to see how our customers are using our solutions, because it's less about the solutions, but it's more about what they've attained. And it's more about the transformation that happens with it. I mean, listen, we've seen Teams plus Surface allow environments to go offline and online and, be asynchronous learning, right? And have all these different kind of multimodal inputs like digital and whatnot. And so like DC Public Schools, I mean, gosh, DC Public Schools deployed 22,000 Surface Go devices recently and really connected it to a Teams environment for learning that allowed this offline online access. We see solutions like North Carolina Department of Education, how they've actually brought in Minecraft and actually allowed kind of coding lessons to be deployed to the entire state to meet kids where they are. I get excited about some of I would say I'm a chemist in background. And so some of I'd call them a little nerdier things, like where we bring sort of high performance computing environments to educational institutions to help them run deep, intense analysis, machine learning, AI. I mean, Duke University used ventilator stimulations to actually innovate on ventilators in the pandemic times where we were like at such an incredible shortage. So, it's hard to say that there's a favorite solution to your point, Robin, because my favorite solution is the one that meets the need of the customer.
All right. So maybe I'll make it a little easier. We know you're a mom, Lydia. So you've got some boys at home. What are their favorite Microsoft solutions?
Oh, gosh, that's good. Well, I'd have to say that they're pretty excited about a lot of things. They help to code. My kids are in high school and they're both pursuing some form of STEM in their classroom. And they've been volunteering to help lead Hour of Code workshops at some of their middle schools. And they've been participants in that. So I've been really excited to see how this democratizing of STEM and some of the focus that we put into our solutions to assure that they're easy and accessible and familiar is work that I kind of see them bringing to life. So, Minecraft and some of the fun coding examples that they're able to use, I think are really, really fun for them. At the same time, Windows as a platform. I actually have my kids help me update devices and get them ready for sometimes when we go into classrooms. And I've seen how my kids with very, very little training can deploy devices. And so that's been pretty fun to see how the technology has evolved and how it's been helped save them time in doing some of these workshops. And ultimately, I know that's helping institutions save time too.
I think there's an interesting intersection there between all that you're talking about, between first the digital skills of the teacher, right? Really needing to bring them up to modern day. There are so many that are still intimidated by anything more than turning a projector on, and we know we need to really get them there. And then combining that with the power of students. I love what you say about, bringing your students into the fold and letting them help you out. And I think we need more of that in the classroom too, right? Students guiding learning. I know I've seen it with my 7-year-old who's a Minecraft wizard now. I'm a certified Minecraft trainer, and he knows more than I do. I feel like I don't even belong like training that tool anymore. But when you turn power over to the students, it's amazing what can happen. In the same way as leaders, we do it with our team, right? But really giving that power to the students and the autonomy to them is really eye-opening, right?
It's so true. Empowering people to do the work that they see, the opportunities they see, what brings them joy, what fills their cup, what is really ultimately what I think of technology's goal, right? Our Microsoft's mission is to empower every person, every organization on the planet to achieve more. So it's not about the technology. It's about the people. And real meaningful, sustained change comes from the people. And so when we think about what our work is here in education, we think about our work as enabling the innovators of tomorrow. Because right now, those individuals, those people they're teaching in our classrooms, they're learning in the country's classrooms, they're sort of experimenting in research labs. And it's our job to work to assure that the technology kind of blurs away, like goes away, and what they're doing, what they're learning, what they're changing and seeing becomes brought to light in the center. So we can only do that through, kind of ubiquitous computing, broad connectivity and assuring these hybrid environments still center on the learning, not the technology, so that collaboration is sort of seamless and boundaryless, between, common data environments with researchers, or just a learning pod that can allow folks to have that pod and develop deep relationships anywhere. It's about the people, as you say, Scott, and we think of our job as just providing enablers to those folks.
So Lydia, you talk about obviously the people, you being an amazing people leader and leading a very large organization here at Microsoft during this time of the great reshuffle, et cetera. So as you know, we have some leaders out there in the education space listening in right now. What advice or what words of encouragement could you offer to some of our education leaders out there who are also experiencing this, trying times with the great reshuffle?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for your passion and continue to follow your passion, right? At the end of the day, the only person that knows what really fills your cup and brings you joy is yourself. And so trust that in you so that you can navigate, right? These sort of changing waters, these opportunities to sort of, only you understands what brings you joy and allows you to do more in a classroom environment. So know that, believe that, lead that, and just, thank you for kind of following your passion in these incredibly kind of unknown and uncertain times. And the second piece of advice that I will just say to you is like, just a giant thank you. I personally don't reach out to my son's educators often enough to let them know how grateful I am for all of what they've provided to my kids every day, every month, every quarter, every year. But the occasional time that I do, it's like I do it once, but I think about it maybe 100 times. And so just know that there are so many who are so grateful for all of your work. And we're appreciative of it. And frankly, we learn from it. So what you're doing informs your students, but it informs their parents, their communities, and ultimately it informs Microsoft, right? Thank you for being a partner. Many of you are MIE experts, and we're building roadmaps in our product based on your feedback and what you're telling us is important and what helps you. And that's just so incredibly valuable. So keep it up. And we're just incredibly grateful.
That's great advice. Definitely, even speaking to a teacher last week on our True EDU podcast, he was sharing, just as a teacher, he just wanted to put the words out there to say, we're doing the best that we can. And I know sometimes the squeaky wheels get a lot of the attention, but there are so many people that are grateful for all the work that our school leaders, our educators are really doing to provide a great place and a great learning experience for students everywhere. Well, before we let you go, we only have a few minutes left, but we wanted to see if you're down for a little lightning round.
Love it. It's super fun.
All right. So if you could be anywhere in the world right now, where would you want to be?
Oh gosh, Robin. You know me well enough to know that the answer is actually outside, right? I love being outside. I don't really care where that is outside. Probably on my bike though. And just love being on my bike outside. I find it very meditative. And yeah, honestly, as long as I've got my bike and I'm outside, that could be anywhere.
What would be your favorite holiday tradition? Could be from your own childhood, maybe with your kids now, but something you always look forward to every year.
Oh gosh, holiday. Well, it's March. I am from Boston, and we have a little fun on St. Patrick's Day and just enjoy getting together and cooking up some yummy food and celebrating with families. I would have to say that my favorite general holiday tradition is just playing games with family, eating and having fun. I always look forward to that no matter what the holiday is, because it's an opportunity to just celebrate.
Okay. I know what your favorite TV series is. And for those of you who are listening, it might be Ted Lasso. But what's the last series that you binge watched, and how long did it take you?
Oh, geez. So, so Ted Lasso is absolutely my favorite show. Have watched both seasons more than once. And yes, I am that nerd that actually takes notes during the show of like things I want to remember
I
and
love
then
that.
researches them later. So I'd have to say that it may even be the last series I binge watched because I don't watch a lot of other TV. And I don't, I don't really actually spend a ton of time, but I will share that I did have an opportunity recently to watch a movie. And it's called Sound of Metal. It's now on Amazon Prime. It's actually produced by Amazon, and it was nominated for a number of Oscars, not this year, but last year. It ended up winning just a couple sound awards, like I'm sure editing, mixing. I'm not quite sure what the exact ones were, but I'll tell you, Sound of Metal is a really incredible story about basically an addict who is a rock metal percussionist, and he ends up losing his hearing. And it was just a really incredible story, charting the journey of this character and sharing just some of the hardship and how he's making choices in his life and how those choices are, sort of what he learns in the journey and how he comes to be happy with himself, his full and whole self. And so it was a sad but really memorable story.
Yeah, sounds interesting. I have to add that to the list.
Yeah.
I already wrote it down.
I was trying to log in, didn't want to look down during the interview to write it down. But definitely make a mental note.
Well,
so we'll
Lydia,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us for our show tonight, and always learn so much from you. Lots of words of wisdom and nuggets of advice, and really excited to see your leadership continue to grow in our organization, because if the one thing that I learned from you through our entire time working together is that you lead with customer obsession and customer first. And so I look forward to continuing to learn from you and learn from our customers to inform the work that we do here at Microsoft.
Totally. I mean, like, just a huge giant shout out right back at you guys and at this community. What fills my cup and brings me joy is helping others be successful. And, Robin and Scott, what you've done with our community is just off the charts and so awesome. But that's been because of not only your passion, what you've given, but to every one of you in the audience, all of you guys have played an incredible role of getting us to where we are today. And so thank you and keep it up. Just so grateful.
Love it. Thank you, Lydia, very much. We really appreciate your time. So great to learn from you. And we'll look forward to staying in touch and hopefully having you back in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Scott. Take care.
You bet. Have a good day.
Good night.
Bye.